Okay, we should start. I'm very happy to have Professor Marius Theodosiou here with us, a good friend and colleague from the Business and Public Administration Department. Professor Theodosiou is one of the directors of the MBA program, with which, as Center for Entrepreneurship, we closely cooperate and we jointly launch many events and interesting activities. And also, of course, he's a professor of marketing, and today he will be speaking about digital marketing, which is something that in entrepreneurship, sooner or later, you will have to deal with digital marketing. So it's a very interesting topic for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Banos, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to our seminar on digital marketing. Of course, digital marketing is a developing area. There are so many different issues that one could discuss, but I have selected a number of topics which I believe will be more interesting and more useful to you for presenting today. Okay, so let's start first with a definition. First of all, what do we mean when we say digital marketing? As you can see, it's simply the use of digital technologies and digital media in order to achieve our marketing objectives. So it is as simple as that. So now, during this seminar, I will mention many times traditional media and also digital media. The reason is that many companies out there are not only pure clicks companies, so they do not only use digital media to execute their marketing activities and try to achieve their objectives, but they are also using traditional media. But even for let's say for a pure clicks company which operates only online, it may be useful, at least at the beginning of its development and its growth, to start to use some traditional media as well in order to attract more customers. Because the important thing is to present your products and your services in media which customers follow. Because otherwise, you will miss a part of the market. Okay, so but digital marketing focuses on the use of digital media, but as I said, most companies use also traditional media in order to reach their customers. Now, the important thing, as I said before, is to achieve our objectives. So we are using digital media to the extent and in ways that they will help us to achieve our objectives. We don't just waste our money just for the sake of it. Just to say that we are a modern company and we use digital media. The important thing is to focus on our objectives in terms of sales revenues, in terms of market share, in terms of building our relationship with our customers and building customer loyalty and all these marketing and business objectives. Okay, so as I said earlier, most companies are using multiple channels in order to achieve their objectives. So we are talking about the multi-channel marketing approach. So multi-channel marketing approach simply means that we are using a combination of digital and traditional media in order to communicate with our customers and achieve our objectives. Of course, whether you should use traditional or digital, and which, because in digital media, you have many different media which you can use. This will depend on the buying cycle of the customer. As we will see later, customers go through a particular purchasing process. So they start by just looking for new products and services, then they identify certain suppliers, then they need to evaluate these suppliers in order to find out those products and brands that better suit their needs, and so on. So at each of these stages in the buying cycle, customers may use different media. Okay, so it's important for every company to understand which media customers use at every stage of their buying cycle, and then try to invest money on this particular media. Now, as you can see on this slide, there are different types of media which we can use. First of all, we have our own media. By own media, we mean media which which belong to our company, and therefore we can use them for free. We do not have to pay anything in order to use this media. Like, for example, our website. We can use our website in order to present a lot of information about our products, about our services. We can have our online store, and so on. In the same way, we can use our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and so on. But however, very often, you will not be able to reach all targeted customers by just using your own media. So you will need to pay. Okay, so we'll go to the second category of media, which are the paid media. Now, in this case, you may pay, for example, some very popular websites in order to host your advertisements. Now, in Cyprus, for example, the two most popular websites are popular in the sense that they attract the most visitors. It's Sigma Live and Φιλελεύθερος, Phile News, how they call it, .net. Because these are, media companies, and many people visit these websites in order to learn about current events and so on. So these popular websites can host your advertisements for a fee, of course. You have to pay them. In the same way, you can pay Facebook in order to sponsor your posts and so on. So all these media require some payment in order to host your links, your advertisements, and so on. And finally, if you are successful in your campaigns, then you may encourage word of mouth among consumers, which is a very desirable outcome for every company. So if you have something interesting to say, if your products become popular or your services become popular, then consumers would like to inform their friends, their family, their colleagues about your products. So they will spread the word, as we say. So it's very important to manage to create this kind of interest around our company and our products so that people will start sharing information about our company with their friends and other people they are associated with. Okay, so, and these are the earned media. Okay, they do not cost us anything, it's for free, but they are very effective. And one reason they are very effective is because they are more reliable. Usually people trust the opinion of their friends and their family instead of what an advertising is saying, because people know that companies pay a lot of money in order to promote their products, so they will say anything in order to convince people to buy their products. Whereas if somebody else who has nothing to gain by just saying positive things about the product spreads these messages or these words, then they are more willing to accept this message. They are more open to these kind of messages that come from their friends and other sources which have nothing to do from spreading these positive comments about a specific product or service. Now, as I mentioned earlier, customers go through different stages in their purchasing process. Okay, and this is what we call customer journeys. Nowadays, with the expansion of digital media, customers usually use a combination of traditional and digital media in order to get informed about new products, new services, in order to find the best prices for the products they are looking for, and so on. So, for example, a customer may see an advertisement on television, then because of these insights, he or she will visit the website of the company, then they may follow the Facebook page of the company, and so on. So they are using a combination of traditional and digital media until they make up their mind and decide which particular brand to purchase. Okay, so as a company, you need to be aware of this. So let's say if you say, as a company, we are not interested in traditional media, and we'll only advertise on Facebook, for example, and your target customers do not follow your page on Facebook, then you will miss this part of the market. It is not a good idea. You should try to reach customers in their preferred communication channels. Now, with online media, of course, you know you can use different digital platforms. You can use search engines, as we'll see later. You can advertise in different websites which attract a significant number of visitors. You can use social media and so on. Now, on this graph here, you see, okay, we have a framework which is called the RACE framework. You see we have 4 phases in the consumer's journey. So first we have the reach, then the act, then the convert, and then the engage. So you see at the first stage, reach, they are mostly suggesting using paid media, because at this stage, customers are not aware about your company or about your product. So if they don't know your company, they will not visit your website, or they will not follow you on Facebook because they do not know about your company. Okay, so at this stage, at the initial stage of introducing a new company or launching new products and so on, it's important to use paid media. So a larger percentage of consumers get the opportunity to learn about your company. So if you are successful in doing so and you create awareness about your products and services, then of course consumers will start acting. So for example, they will visit your website, they will search for your Facebook page and so on. Now, the important thing is to try to convert visitors into potential customers. Some websites have many visitors, but only a small percentage will decide to become regular visitors of this website, or only a small percentage will decide to register, which is not a good result for us. As a company, we would like to have many customers who will decide to register in our website so that we can send them promotional material, we can offer them discounts and so inform them about our new products and so on. So we should create some material, some content that will convince visitors to our website and to the other digital media we control, to convert them from just visitors to active users of our website or our online store and so on. And finally, at the latest stage, we would like them to engage. For example, to share our posts on Facebook, or to inform their friends about our products and share our email messages and so on. As you can see on this slide, there are different suggestions for the media you should use at every stage of the customer purchasing cycle. Now, in order to be successful in your digital marketing activities, you need to develop a strategy. Without a specific strategy, your activities will just be random, there will be no consistency, and so on. It's very important to develop a strategy for digital media, as it is important to develop a marketing strategy when we are using traditional business approaches. Now, the steps that you should follow in order to develop your strategy are more or less similar to those we follow in traditional marketing. And as you can see, we start always with customer segmentation. And what does it mean, customer segmentation? It means that we divide the market into a number of smaller groups of customers which share similar needs, similar preferences, or similar characteristics. Now, in marketing courses, we examine many different variables which you can use in order to segment the market. For example, you can use demographics, like people's age. You know that older consumers, for example, may have different preferences than younger consumers. Women may have different needs and preferences from men, and so on. People with higher incomes have different preferences compared to people with lower incomes. So you must decide which variables are more relevant for the product and services you are selling, and then use these variables as the basis for segmentation. In some cases, maybe gender is not important. Maybe women and men have the same needs and preferences for the particular product you are selling. For other products, maybe gender is important. Okay, so in addition, of course, to demographics, you should also use what we call psychographic variables, which have to do with people's interest, their lifestyle, their hobbies, and so on, which is it's more difficult to collect. Demographics are always easier to collect because you can just visit the statistical service of the Republic of Cyprus or the statistical service of the European Union, and so on, and you find information about the structure of the population and so on. But for psychographic variables, usually you don't have readily available information. You need to collect it through different approaches. Now, so once you have divided the market in specific segments, each one consisting of homogeneous groups of consumers, then you have to decide which ones to target. Because maybe most of the time, your products and services are not suitable for everyone. Okay, so you should decide which segments to target. For example, given the products you are selling, maybe your target group will consist of young women at the age of, I don't know, 18 to 25, which are highly educated, and which, I don't know, they have a particular lifestyle. So you have to develop specific profiles for each customer segment and decide which ones to target. Now, of course, if you are a large company and you possess adequate resources, you may decide to target many different segments. And for each segment, you will need to develop different products, different services, priced differently, and so on. The idea of segmentation is that you will develop a different marketing program for each segment you are targeting. Now, if you are a company with limited resources, then it will not be feasible for you to go after too many market segments. So you may choose one or a few to target. And then within each of the target segments, you will need to develop your positioning. So what is the positioning? It's the image or the perception that consumers should have about your products or services. So for example, Mercedes is positioned as a manufacturer of luxury automobiles. So this is the positioning for Mercedes. Lidl supermarkets is positioned as a supermarket which offers quality products at lower prices. So that's why they have the slogan, quality for less. So this is their positioning. So you need to decide what is your main competitive advantage and try to convince consumers that compared to other brands, other companies in the industry, you can offer them some benefits which are not available by your competitors. Otherwise, consumers will prefer to purchase products from another company and not from your own company. Okay, so you need to identify what is your distinctive competitive advantage. And based on this, you will need to develop an online value proposition, as we call it. So the online value proposition explains what are the key benefits that you offer to customers in the market. However, compared to the traditional, let's say, value proposition, in the case of online value propositions, you need to explain also why using digital media will offer more benefits to consumers compared to performing the same activities using traditional media. For example, as you all know, in recent years, the banks in Cyprus and all over the world, they are trying to convince consumers to use online banking instead of visiting bank branches, because it costs much less to the bank to serve customers online instead of serving the customers through their branches. However, for consumers, the question is, what's in it for me? What is the benefit for me as a consumer to use your online banking instead of visiting your stores? So there must be something convincing to say, you should use online banking because it's more convenient, because it costs less. If you visit the store, we will charge you for every transaction you do, and so on. So there must be some significant benefits which convince consumers to use the online version of your activities instead of preferring the traditional approach through traditional stores and so on. Now, here I just present a number of technologies which you can use in order to achieve different objectives. So to get the maximum benefit from digital media, we must adopt a broader view and exploit all opportunities provided by digital media and the internet. Because some companies adopt a more myopic, as we say, view, and they consider the internet just as a medium for promotion only, just for advertising. Or some others, they just see only the opportunity for selling products online, and that's it. But in reality, you can use the relevant technologies in order to redesign your whole business processes, how you operate as a company. So on this slide, you see different applications. Of course, you can use digital media for advertising purposes. You can use them for giving the opportunity to customers to place their orders online or to communicate directly with customers and conduct sales transactions. You can use it to encourage more customers to become interested in your products, so become leads, as we say. So leads are potential customers who have a genuine interest in purchasing your products. You can use the internet as a distribution channel. Of course, this is only feasible if you are selling digital products. For example, Netflix, which is a streaming company, is using the internet as a distribution channel because they distribute their products through the internet. Or if you are selling software, you can allow customers to download your software online. So you distribute your products, in this case, online. Of course, if you are selling physical products, like clothes or shoes, you cannot distribute them online. You will need to use a courier company to send products to customers. You can use, of course, the internet to provide after-sales service to your customers. Any complaints they have, any questions they have, they can resolve them by contacting you through your website instead of calling you or visiting you in person and so on. The internet, above all, it gives you the opportunity to maintain long-term relationships with your customers, because this is the key to success. The majority of companies earn a significant percentage of their sales and profits from the same customers who purchase their products again and again. So it's very important to maintain your customers. Your objective is not just to sell one product at a particular point of time to a particular customer and that's it. You forget about this customer. No, the objective is to maintain this customer on a long-term basis. And your digital media, they give you the tools that you need in order to keep, to maintain this relationship, to be in contact with your customers. You can send them messages through your website, notifications, you can send them emails, You may encourage them to follow your posts on Facebook. So in this way, you will be in constant contact with your customers, and you increase the possibility that they will remain loyal customers on a long-term basis. Now, in this slide, we see some specific ways in which the digital media help us to achieve our marketing objective. First of all, we can use the internet in order to learn more things about our customers. Now, in addition to conducting traditional research, like using online questionnaires in order to collect data from customers, you can follow their behavior online. Using cookies and other techniques, you can monitor the behavior of certain customers every time they visit your website. So by monitoring this behavior, you can get a very good understanding about their needs, about their preferences, and so on. So you can use this information in order to conduct more targeted campaigns. For example, if some of you are not interested in marketing books, for example, there is no reason for Amazon to send you offers for marketing books. But if they know that you are interested in purchasing, I don't know, gadgets, technological gadgets, then they may start sending you promotional material which relates to your preferred products. So this will increase substantially the chances that you will try to exploit some of these offers and purchase the advertised products. So with more targeted campaigns, we can achieve significantly better results. Okay, so this is what the internet would allow us to do by monitoring the behavior of our customers. And then in the same way, we can anticipate demand for the future by monitoring visitors in our website and as well in other websites through different tools available by Google and so on. We can predict what products will be in high demand in the future, in the next few months, or even in the next few years, and respond accordingly by modifying our marketing strategy and so on. And finally, earlier I said that it's critically important to maintain your customers on a long-term basis. Now, this requires that your customers are satisfied with what you offer them. And you can use digital media in order to enhance your customer satisfaction. When you are able to respond immediately to their requests, to solve all their problems, send them any material they need immediately, and so on, this will show customers that you are interested in them, that you appreciate their collaboration, and then you do everything you can in order to satisfy their needs and preferences. So this will make them happy, this will make them satisfied, so they will be willing to continue purchasing from you in the future as well. Now, when we operate online, we need to respect some ethical rules. Of course, privacy concerns is a major issue in digital marketing. We don't have the time to discuss it today. But at least there are some things we can do in order to show to the market that we are a responsible company, we respect their privacy, and so on. So this is what we achieve through permission marketing. So by permission marketing, we mean that we ask customers to grant us permission to send them promotional material. Or if we want to include them in our database so that we can contact them in the future, we ask for their permission. So this is what we call opt-in. We ask them to opt-in, which means they will give us the permission to include their personal information in our database. At the same time, we should give them the opportunity to opt out. If at some point a specific consumer does not want to receive any more material from us, then this individual must have the opportunity to send us an email and ask us to remove them from our database. Okay, so this is something we should do. It's a good practice. It shows that we are a socially responsible company. Now, having said this, of course, in order to convince consumers to visit regularly our website and our online store and also follow our social media, we must develop appropriate content. So the content is very important. And for this reason, there is a whole area in marketing which is called content marketing. So you need to develop not only documents but also videos, issue a lot of photographs and so on, because consumers would like to see something interesting. And of course, content must be regularly updated, because if you visit a website and you see some content, and then the next day you visit again the website and it's still the same content, and in a week from now you visit the website and again they have the same content, then you will say, okay, why I should visit this website regularly, since every time they have exactly the same things. So there is no incentive for me to visit this website regularly, because they always have the same content. So it's very important to develop proper content based on your target customers' needs and preferences and so on, and then also regularly update this content. And finally, as your ultimate objective, you should try to engage your customers. Now, there are many different levels of engagement. So a customer who regularly visits your website, it's to some extent engaged with your website. But you expect something more from your loyal customers. For example, you expect them to like your posts on Facebook. Then, at the higher level of engagement, you expect them to write positive comments about your company. And then, ideally, they should take some pictures while they are using your product, and then upload these pictures on their own Facebook page, so that their friends can see that they are very happy with your product and so on. So there are all these different levels of engagement, and as a company, you should do your best in order to encourage customers to engage by offering them certain incentives, by reminding them. For example, if you have traveled recently and you have stayed at a hotel, most probably they will send you some emails and they will ask you to evaluate their website or their Facebook page and write a review and share it with your friends and so on. So they don't just leave it on your own chance. They try to encourage this by contacting you and actively asking you to provide some reviews about their hotel or any other company. Okay, so you should try all the time to encourage consumers to engage with your digital media. Okay, we talked about customer journeys earlier. So we said that because consumers go through different stages in the purchasing process, and at each stage they may use different media in order to get informed, in order to evaluate different suppliers and so on, it's important for you to understand what are the most important media for consumers at each stage of the product, of the purchase product cycle, so that you have a strong presence in those media. Okay, nowadays, intermediaries, okay, here we have an example of a customer journey. You see here, somebody saw something on Facebook, then they later search, maybe using a search engine, then they examine the value proposition of a website, and so on. I mean, you see there are many different steps which they follow until they decide or not to buy a product. And you see, we have traditional media like television, we have social media and display advertisements and so on. So ideally, as a company, you should be aware of the extent to which different consumers use any or a combination of these media during their journey until they decide which product to purchase. And you see what are the different steps here. First, they become aware about a particular product, then they start considering purchasing it. Then, of course, they will try to identify some suppliers who are selling this product, and then they will decide which product is more suitable for their personal needs, and finally decide to make a purchase, and so on. Okay, so it's important to try to develop these maps for your own products and services. Of course, as we discussed earlier, consumers are not all the same. I mean, they behave differently. That's why we need to segment the market and decide which specific segments to target. Because different consumers may follow a different journey until they decide to buy something. Now, one important, let's say, something which is critically important for your success is to understand your customers. So it's very important to perform some kind of customer analysis in order to find out what are their needs, what are their preferences, what purchasing process they are following, and so on. Now, in the case of online media or digital media, it's important to try to assess the demand for online services. And again, this is something which differs between countries. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in a country like the UK or the United States, 80% of the population maybe are willing to conduct transactions online and purchase products and services online. In some other countries, maybe it's only 50% of the population who is currently connected to the internet, and they are also willing to conduct transactions online, or they are familiar with conducting online transactions. So this gives you an indication of the demand for online sales, for example, or more generally for online transactions. If there is low demand, then it's not good for you. But again, you could target those segments of the market which are more likely to engage in online transactions. Now, in any situation, you are mostly interested in your target customers, because this is the customers which are more likely to purchase your products. These are the customers which have an interest and a need for your product. So you should try to understand what are their characteristics in terms of their demographic characteristics, for example. Are they younger consumers, or they are middle-aged or older consumers? Are they men or women? Are they highly educated, or they have lower education, and so on? And also, what are their hobbies? How they spend their available time, their leisure time, and so on. So if you have some key information about your customers, then you will be able to develop your marketing strategy accordingly. And just to make things clear, what is important is to respond to customers' needs and preferences, and not just study them. Because there is no point in trying to understand your customers, but then you keep offering to the market the same product, the same services, and so on. Unfortunately, this is a serious mistake that many companies do. Even large companies, they spend a lot of money in order to conduct marketing research and understand what are the needs and preferences of their customers, but then they are not using this information. They keep operating as before, which is, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You have to take seriously into consideration these findings and respond accordingly. Now, as we said earlier, the important thing when you are trying to attract customers in your digital media is to try to convert as many as possible to become your customers, start purchasing the product, and so on. So here we have an example which shows how difficult it is to convert customers. So in the left hand side, you see that through digital channels or electronic channels, we managed to reach 1 million consumers. But only 5% of these consumers will respond to our efforts. So, and then in traditional channels, again, you reach 1 million consumers, and 10% will respond to your efforts, but then also 5% will be diverted to the online channels. So they start their journey, let's say, on traditional channels, but then they are diverted to the electronic channels. In the same way, 1% of consumers that started their journey on digital channels will be directed to traditional channels. Anyhow, so from the 1 million, we have only 100,000 that will visit our website. So this 100,000, it's 5% of the 1 million which started their journey from electronic channels, plus the 5% which started their journey from the traditional channels. And then of these 100,000, only 11,100 will become leads. And as I told you before, leads we mean prospective customers, customers which will develop a genuine interest to purchase your product. And again, this is 5% of the 100,000 which originated from the electronic media, and then you have 1% of the 110,000 which originated from the traditional media. And so on. So eventually, out of the 1 million consumers, only 2,355 will purchase something online, and 11,910 will purchase something offline by visiting, for example, a traditional store. Okay, so as the manager of a company which aims to increase online sales, you must be aware of these percentages here and do whatever you can in order to improve these percentages and improve the conversion rate. Okay. Now here we have some key ratios which you should consider, like for example awareness efficiency, how many consumers you will target for your product or service online compared to all web users. Then you have the number of individual visits, the number of visitors in your website compared to all users of the internet who are searching for products and services online. Then you have the number of active visitors compared to the number of visits, the engagement efficiency. So many of the visitors will not do anything particular. I mean, they will visit your website, maybe they will have a look at your products and services, and then they will leave without doing anything particular. When we say active visitors, we mean they engage in some kind of important activity. Like, for example, they register in order to be able to receive our emails or to receive our promotional material, or they participate in a contest or something. So they do something important within our website. And finally, you have the conversion efficiency, which is the number of purchases compared to the number of active visitors. So even those consumers that will become active visitors, maybe they will not purchase something. Maybe they will register, maybe they will start searching for products and services in your website, maybe they will accept to receive your emails and your promotional material, but eventually they will not purchase something. Perhaps you have heard that there are a lot of studies which show that many consumers even choose products, they pick products and they put them in their shopping cart, but then they never pay for these products. They just select the products, but finally when they go to the counter to pay for these products, they change their mind and they don't proceed to close the sale. So the number of purchases will be just a small percentage compared to the original number of consumers who visited your website. Of course, if you manage to bring a lot of people in your website and your online store, then it's up to you to improve the content of your website and offer them incentives so that they will start purchasing products and services. What is a major reason that people are very hesitant to purchase products online? Yes?
It's not tangible. They can't feel the product, they can't see the quality through the screen.
Okay, so you mean because they are not able to evaluate appropriately the product, because they cannot touch it, they cannot see it. Okay, this may be an important reason. What else?
I think the main one is trust. You trust the website.
Yes, the major reason is security concerns. So they are afraid that if they proceed with the transaction, somebody may steal the number of their credit card and so on. Yes?
But there's protection from that, from many banks and maybe
yes.
PayPal or Revolut. They have policies that if something happens to the transaction, they can easily refund their money back.
Okay, you are right. So I was going to say that companies must adopt all these measures you mentioned in order to convince customers that their transactions are safe. But still, from time to time, there are some stories in the news that some hackers managed to break the code in a large company and they stole the personal information of customers and so on. And this makes people more skeptical about conducting online transactions. So, as your colleague said, companies should adopt relevant security measures and reassure the customers that the possibility that somebody will steal their money it's very limited, or is almost non-existent. Okay, here we have some examples of conversions, nothing special. Now, with respect to online consumers' behavior, it's something we discussed before that as well. It's very important to understand your consumers, understand how they behave, what are their needs and preferences, and so on. As I told you earlier, it is much easier to collect information about the demographic characteristic of a population, because this information is readily available from secondary sources. On the other hand, it is much more difficult to collect information about the psychographic profile of customers, because in this case you must find out about their personality, about their lifestyle, their hobbies, how they spend their leisure time, and so on. So, in order to get all this information, what some companies do on Facebook or in other platforms? Yes.
We're doing web scraping basically. So they collect all the information of opened profiles of users on Facebook and Instagram. They may even take competitors. They go through profiles, look for subscriptions, like which pages are they subscribed to, what are they interested in. They analyze all the posts, and then using some like neural networks, for example, they derive like a set of keywords, and this set of keywords may describe like the personality in terms of interests, for example, if like referring to Facebook or something.
Okay, so you're absolutely right. Sometimes they are using advanced analytics. They just monitor the behavior of people in different websites or different social media, and then develop a profile. What is another way of directly forming a profile for consumers? You can ask them to take part in a survey, or to participate in a game or in a contest, and so on. So sometimes, I don't know, maybe you have seen some, how do you call them, some tests online, which say just take this test and we will tell you what is your IQ, for example. Or take this test and we'll tell you what kind of music do you like. Or take this test and we'll tell you whether you should have born in Cyprus or in Jamaica, I don't know. So these kind of tests, and when you start answering the questions, you will realize that most of these questions are about your personal interest, your hobbies, and so on. So you are answering all these questions because you just believe they are part of this particular test, but they collect all this information, then they use them to build your profile. Okay, anyway, so there are different ways which you can use in order to create some profiles for your customers. And as your colleague said, we are able to analyze the behavior of consumers online using different analytics, and this will allow us to try to predict their future behavior. Now, this is a diagram here which presents the purchasing process to which I referred earlier. So you see that there are many different stages in the buying process, like a consumer, the first stage is when a consumer is unaware about your product or about your service. So if they are unaware, your main objective should be to generate awareness. Okay, but as we saw in a previous slide, you cannot create awareness by relying on your own media, because since they do not know you, they will not visit your website or they will not follow your Facebook. So you need to use some paid forms of promotion. So you see, we can use display and pay-per-click ads, online public relations, and so on. So you have to promote your company through some other websites which have more visitors, because you are a new company, nobody knows about you, so they are not going to visit you unless you try to promote your website through some other well-known websites or well-known Facebook pages and so on. And then we go through different stages. Of course, since we have limited time, I'm not going to analyze each one of them. But you see, then you become aware of the product. Then you start searching for suppliers, because there are many companies in the market that they sell the same product. So if you would like to replace your existing mobile phone, there are a number of different stores in Cyprus that sell mobile phones, and of course you can also order a mobile phone online. So you will start searching for suppliers. Then you will evaluate the different available brands and their different retailers, and you will choose the one which, based on your perceptions, more closely matches your unique needs and preferences. And there is also the behavior of consumers after they have bought the product. So in the last column, you see that at each stage, there are different digital media which you can use. For example, in the supplier search stage, you can use aggregators or directories and other intermediaries. Now, in some industries, intermediaries are very important. So, for example, if you are going to book a hotel, most probably you will visit, and they connect to your website, they will use their password and their username. So you will know who is visiting your website at a specific moment. So they can welcome them with their name, and you can present them material which is closer to their preferences. So in this way, by personalizing the content of your website, you show some respect to your customers, you make them feel important, you show them that they are appreciated and your collaboration is much appreciated, and so on. Okay, so there are different techniques to use at different stages of the buying process. Now, a few things about competitors. As I said before, we are not on our own in the market. We are not a monopoly, usually. We have to face a strong competition. So it's very important for us to understand the strengths and weaknesses of our competitors, try to find out about their practices and so on. Because if our competitors are offering to the market something which is superior to our own offering, then consumers will most probably prefer to purchase products and services from our competitors. So we need to understand our competitors, and we can use a technique which is called benchmarking. With benchmarking, we try to compare some of our activities with those of the competitors. For example, the ordering system. What is our ordering system and what is the competitor's ordering system? if the competitor's ordering system is more efficient and it makes it easier for consumers to place their orders, then maybe they will have an advantage over our company. So we can try to improve our ordering system to become better than those of competitors. And in the same way, you can compare many different aspects of your operations with the respective aspect of your competitors. Now, earlier I talked about intermediaries. Now, you see that traditionally many companies sell their products to the market through some intermediaries. Okay, nowadays, because of the opportunities and the tools that we can use, which are based on the internet technology, some companies decide to sell their products directly to the final customer. So this process is called disintermediation. So some intermediaries are removed from the distribution channel, and you are selling the products directly to your customers. On the other hand, we have the opposite process, which is called reintermediation. In this case, you have new intermediaries that enter the market, and these are online intermediaries. For example, Amazon is a new online retailer, which didn't exist before. It's a new intermediary which started operating because of the internet, yes. Yes, exactly, yes. Now, if there are some powerful intermediaries in your industry, then you may consider collaborating with them, because otherwise you will not have access to a significant share of the market which follows these intermediaries. Now, if we go back to the disintermediation stage, sometimes you will save money by removing some intermediaries and selling products directly to your customers through your online store. However, there is a problem here sometimes. If these intermediaries are powerful, then maybe they will retaliate. So if as a manufacturer, you are not selling them your products so that they can resell them to the end customers, then maybe they will start collaborating with one of your competitors. So you will start losing market share. So although in theory, the internet allows us to remove intermediaries from the market, whether we should do so or not depends on whether our customers are loyal to our brand or they are loyal to some intermediaries. If they are loyal to some intermediaries, then it's not a good idea to try to remove these intermediaries from our distribution channel. Now, as a new company that you enter the market, you need to develop a business model, an online business model. And what is a business model? Basically, it's something that describes your main activities. What company are you? Are you providing financial services? Are you selling, technological products? What are you doing in the market? So why do you exist as a company? What are your main activities? Okay, and then as part of your business model, you have to define your target customers, which customers you are targeting, how you are positioning in the market, what are your main strengths, what are the main benefits you are offering to the customers, and so on. Also, along with your business model, you should develop a revenue model. So how are you going to earn money? Of course, the traditional approach is to sell products. So if you are selling books, you earn money through the price you charge for your books. However, there are many other revenue models. For example, you can get commission. For example, if you are hosting, if you are a very popular website, you may host the advertisements of some other retailers. So every time a consumer clicks on that advertisement and he is directed to the website of the retailer to buy something, you get a commission. Commission is another revenue model. You can also earn money through subscriptions. Companies like Netflix, for example, they get revenues through subscriptions and so on. So you must decide which revenue model could work for you. It would be effective for you. And of course, you can use multiple revenue models. I think we discussed this about the marketing channels. Of course, the digital media may be considered as another marketing channel which is available for companies to try to achieve their objectives. I will skip this. Now, let's go to the strategy part. As I told you before, in order to be successful, you need some kind of strategy. Because we are operating online using digital media, some people believe that you don't need these traditional approaches of strategy development and so on. But this is not the case. I mean, to be successful, you need a comprehensive strategy because it will give you some direction. It will allow you to understand your strengths and weaknesses. It will allow you to allocate your budget effectively, and so on. So in this slide, you can see the various steps which are involved in the development of a particular digital marketing strategy. We always start with a situation analysis. So where we stand at the moment. And this situation analysis involves not only an analysis of our internal environment, like our resources, our capabilities, and so on, but also some analysis of the external environment. Because sometimes the environment is favorable, the economy is growing, for example, there is limited competition, so you can set some more ambitious objectives. On the other hand, if there is a recession in the economy, then you should scale down on your financial and other objectives. So you start from where are we now, and then the next step is to set your objectives. Where do we want to be? So what are our objectives? Where do we see our company in the next 2 years or in the next 5 years? And then you need to develop a strategy that will take you there. So the strategy is the means for achieving your objectives. So we want to achieve certain objectives in terms of sales, in terms of market share, and so on. So how are we going to achieve these objectives? Through developing a particular strategy. And then, of course, you need to implement this strategy. Now, some people believe that the strategy development is the crucial part, which is true, but you will read in the literature that many excellent strategies fail because of poor execution. So it's very important to execute effectively your strategy through specific tactics and actions. And of course, at the end, you need a control mechanism. You have to measure results in order to make sure that you are performing well, that everything is in order, and so on. And otherwise, if you are not satisfied with your performance, it means that you need to take some corrective actions. Okay, so this is one example of a strategy process. You may see some similar models in the literature. Now, with respect to the first stage, which is setting our goals and objectives, first of all, if we are talking about online activities, you must try to set objectives with respect to the online revenue contribution. So, if you are an existing company, for example, and you are also generating revenues through traditional activities by selling through stores and so on, top management would like to know what percentage of our revenues we are expecting to earn from online activities, because this will have some impact on the resources that they will allocate to us in order to invest in our digital media. Okay, so we set some objectives about our online revenue contribution, and we may also have specific objectives about the contribution of digital media in terms of promotion, because sometimes a company does not sell online. because the products they are selling are not suitable for online sale. Let's say you are selling refrigerators in Cyprus. Only a few people in Cyprus will purchase a refrigerator online. But you can use digital media to promote your store, to promote your brands, to promote your specific products. So in this case, it will be very important to develop, to set some objectives about the contribution of digital media to your promotion. And always, your objectives must be smart. So, for example, just saying we want to increase sales is not a smart objective. It must be very specific, measurable, and so on. So, for example, a smart objective is to say that our objective is to achieve an increase of 10% in our sales within the next 6 months, for example. So this is more specific because it specifies what percentage of increase in sales you are expecting and the time period within which you will try to achieve this objective. Again, we have here the different stages of the strategy. So as we discussed earlier, we start by segmenting the market. We decide which segments to target. Then we position our offering within each segment, and then we plan our marketing program in order to achieve our objectives. So it's the traditional stages, if you wish, for developing a particular marketing strategy. Now, positioning, as we explained earlier, is very important because it has to do with the customer's perceptions about your products. So it's a unique of higher quality or receiving high quality services. It's something that improves the value they get. At the same time, however, if they have to pay a high price for the product, then this will reduce the perceived value. So it's very important to have the right ratio, the right balance between the benefits that you offer to consumers and the cost they have to pay in order to receive these benefits. Okay, so you can try to manipulate these variables here in order to improve the value you offer to customers. And in order to enhance your product positioning, you can try to improve the performance of your product, or you can try to reduce your prices, maybe by reducing your cost, which will allow you to sell at lower prices. You can improve your transactions. I mean, the whole ordering and fulfillment process, make the fulfillment process more efficient, so that you can deliver product to customers faster and in a reliable manner, and so on. And you can try to improve your relationship with customers. Okay, we still have some time, I think we'll manage. Now, we explained earlier the importance of engagement, so I'm not going to repeat the same argument. But it's important for companies to engage in a number of activities that will encourage also customer engagement. Because if you achieve customer engagement, it means that you will have some customers which will become loyal to your firm, so they will revisit your website and your online store again and again. They will offer you a steady stream of revenues, and also they will engage in positive word of mouth about your company, which is also very important. They will let other people, like their friends, their family, and so on, know about your products and your services. So it's very important to engage customers. So usually, customer engagement will come from social media. Nowadays, most people spend some time on Facebook every day, or on Twitter, or on Instagram, and so on. Whereas only a few people will visit a website every day. So it's better to try to achieve this engagement by managing your presence in social media. Okay. So your social media strategy should involve understanding your audience. This is what I emphasized earlier. You must understand your customers. You must be aware of their needs, of their preferences, of their lifestyle, of their hobbies and everything, so that you can present them appropriate content that will keep them interested and keep them engaged with your company. Now, another important concept in digital marketing is electronic CRM. Now, CRM, it's a popular term in traditional marketing as well. CRM means customer relationship management. And because, as I explained earlier, a significant percentage of our revenues come from repeat sales to the same customers, it's very important to develop an efficient and effective CRM system in order to maintain these customers. So now with digital media, we can manage our relationships with customers online. And customer engagement, which is what we were talking about in the previous slide, also contributes greatly to electronic CRM, because if a customer is highly engaged with your social media, then most probably this customer will also become a regular visitor to your website. It will receive promotional material. It will spread the word about your products and services to other customers and so on. We have some indices here of engagement, like customers' involvement, how many times they visit our website, how much time they spend in our website, which specific pages they visit within our website. So all this information can be collected by using web analytics. So we just need to take this information from our website and analyze them using appropriate analytics, and we'll have all this information at hand. Now, with respect to interaction, you see that when consumers visit a particular web page, Facebook page or Instagram page and so on, they can provide quantitative ratings, like with stars. Now, the main system of evaluation which has prevailed is to evaluate the quality of a particular website or of a particular brand and so on with stars, usually from 1 to 5 and so on. So they can provide a quantitative rating, but on a higher level of engagement, we expect customers to provide also some reviews, to provide some comments. Because, okay, it's very easy for every customer to just rate our services by choosing a star number, like 5 stars or 4 stars and so on. But it's more difficult to start writing comments. However, the benefit of having customers writing positive comments about you, it's enormous. So we try to encourage customers to spend some time writing positive comments about our company or about our services. And we have this ratio here in terms of the quantity and the frequency of written reviews. Of course, if you have some customers who write very often reviews, then this is ideal. Of course, most companies will not have this kind of loyal customers, but ideally, you should have some customers who feel very attached psychologically to your company, and so they write positive reviews very often. Now, at the heart of an eCRM program, of an electronic customer relationship management program, is a well-developed database. Okay, because in order to personalize the content of your website or the promotional material you are sending to customers, you must keep relevant information in your website. In your database. Okay, so it's very important to develop a database where you will store all relevant information about the characteristics of your customers and their purchasing behavior. So if you have this database, then it will become easier for you to run targeted marketing campaigns, because by retrieving information from your database, you will be able to send customized material to your customers. Now, some kind of information you can store in your website, not in your website, in your database, include personal and profile data, because you must have some contact details in order to contact your customers, like their emails, their phone numbers, and so on, and some demographic information, like their gender, their age, and so on. Then you can keep a record of their transaction data. Now, every time, for example, you visit a store and you purchase certain products, and you go to the counter to pay for these products, the cashier is using a scanner in order to scan everything you have bought. So when they scan the products you have bought, this information goes directly in their website. Again, I say, well, I don't know what happened to me. It goes directly to their database, not their website, okay? So you store this information about transactions in your database. So for every customer, you know what they buy every time they visit your store. Now, this is how big data are generated. I'm sure you have heard about big data. It's a very popular term in recent years. This is how you create big data. It's because you store all information about customers' transactions in your database. So, of course, then you need some advanced analytical techniques in order to analyze this huge amount of information and get some and arrive at some conclusions about the behavior of different categories of customers. Now, how can you do this? Every time a customer purchases something from your store, they may be using also their loyalty card. So if they have a loyalty card, it means that you have certain information, certain personal information about them, because this is the information they provided when they registered for the loyalty card. Okay, so by correlating their personal information with their transaction history, you are able to create different profiles of consumers. And then you can start conducting targeted campaigns aiming at these different consumer profiles. You can also store information about consumers' response to different promotions. Very often, companies send promotional material to customers. Some of them are about discounts, some of them offer the opportunity to buy a second product at a reduced price, and so on. So consumers respond differently to different forms of promotion or to different incentives. So if in our database we have information about consumers' responses to different promotional incentives we are offering, then next time we can send to a particular consumer incentives which we know will be more appealing to this person, and most probably they will use these coupons or discounts we offer them. Okay, this is again the customer lifecycle management strategy. First, we have to acquire, we select which customers to target. Then we acquire these customers using different online and offline techniques sometimes. Then the next crucial step is customer retention. I said it's very important to maintain our customers because most markets are saturated. So it's not possible for any company to keep gaining new customers. It's very difficult to get new customers all the time. So your revenues will come from sales to the existing customers. So it's very important to retain your customers, and then you may try to extend or expand your customers. What is customer extension? Sometimes they start collaborating with you by purchasing just one product. But if as a company you have multiple products in your product line, you can start selling them more products. So for example, if you are selling electrical appliances, let's say, so a consumer starts collaborating with you when they first bought a refrigerator. Then you start selling them other appliances like a television, I don't know, a washing machine, and so on. So you expand the customers by selling them more products from your product line, and so on. So this is how you try to manage your relationship with your customers. Okay, and I think we can conclude with this slide because maybe you are too tired to continue. I see some started leaving, so I will finish with this slide, then we'll give some time for questions. So what we described earlier results in customers profiling. So using the demographic information we have for our customers and their actual purchasing behavior, we can build a rich profile for these customers. Okay, so we know their age, we know their gender, we know their income, we know whether they have children or not, we know that they like going fishing, for example, we know that they enjoy reading marketing books or whatever. So we have a complete profile of these customers. So we can use this information in order to modify our marketing campaigns and try to send information to these customers which is relevant to their profile. Now, of course, sometimes different departments of the firm need to contact these customers. So it's very important that this information about the customer is stored in a central database, I will say, so that every department of the company which will need to contact the customer to have access to the same information. Because otherwise, maybe we will bother the customer with questions for which we already know the answer, but this answer was in another database which the specific employee didn't have access to. So it's important to have a common database. Of course, only those people who must have access to the database must be eligible to access it, because otherwise we have privacy concerns and privacy issues. Not every employee of a company should have access to customers' information. Okay? And finally, in order to take advantage of different social media, we use a technique which is called social sign-in. So when somebody visits our website, for example, instead of asking him or her to register, we offer the opportunity to them to use their Facebook profile, for example, to register in our website. So in this case, we can get information from their Facebook profile, and then we try to combine this information from Facebook with their actual behavior in our website. So this is what we call social sign-on. Anyway, so I will stop here. It's 6:30, and if you have any questions or comments on all these topics we have discussed, I'm more than happy to try to answer them. Anything? This is because everything was very clear, or because everything was very confusing?
Are we going to be able to get a copy of these?
I don't know, I will think about it. Okay, I will talk with Panos, and maybe we'll send you a copy of the slides. Okay, if you have no questions, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you all the best with your projects and everything.